I think we all agree that nightclubs aren't what people think they are or what they used to be. When you go to a nightclub, you'll see that there's a large number of people outside in queues waiting for their turn to get in. The bouncers make sure they don't let everyone in. There's always a perception the place must be flooded with people inside having the time of their lives. But once you get to go in, you realize the place is only half full, and not what they make it look like from outside. Even in the winters, you see women wearing practically nothing in high heels, freezing in the chill as they wait outside, and you wonder why. Why go through this trouble just for a night out at the club? Honestly, I didn't give this much thought before I took the RP. I thought how ignorant these people must be, waiting outside clubs for hours and women standing in line in the cold wearing their high heels. Talking about high heels, we've all heard high heels are supposed to make women more attractive by defining the shape of their legs and accentuating their curves. But what we don't commonly hear is that high heels also change the behavior of men. A recent study from France suggested high heels help women get whatever they want from men more efficiently. In an experiment, the study had women wearing flats and heels stand on the street to try and get people to respond to the survey. The woman wearing flats barely had anyone stop for the survey. The woman wearing small heels had more than half of the men stop by and respond to her questions eagerly. And when the woman wore a big heel, nearly all men stopped to help her with the survey. For me, high heels is like a test because it's statistically proven it does something to men that makes them want to go above and beyond to cater to what women want. And women know this. They use this, and men keep falling for the high heel trap. But if a man is aware and awoke regarding the reality behind high heels, that he can easily pass the test. So be warned, guys. Don't just go running to help that damsel in distress who's wearing high heels. It's a test. Because if men give in to the high heel temptation, it will only lead to them buying drinks and food for women who will just be using their heel to their advantage. I mean, the whole idea of high heels being a symbol of patriarchy is contradictory. Why would men be willingly manipulated to cater to the needs of women wearing high heels who are only wearing them to get what they want, right? It really doesn't make sense. Why do women who probably have dozens of shoes still prefer wearing high heels? They know it's their special weapon to get what they want. It all comes down to women wanting power over men. During my clubbing days, when I chose to go with women who wore flats and pants instead of heels and those really short skirts, they were constantly ignored by bouncers who let the women with the heels and skirts inside the club. Maybe they looked more like club material, or maybe it was their vulnerability out in the cold and open that let the bouncers make them decision. I believe it's a bit of both. Because when a woman who's barely wearing anything walks past a club, it automatically attracts attention not only to her, but to the club as well, which is what the club wants. I think this is one of the main reasons why men who are swinging in the BP pool line up to such clubs, where there's always a line of women in miniskirts and heels, shivering in the cold. It brings up this urge to protect them, and when they go inside, they buy drinks for them, try to make them warm and comfortable. That is until they're just sidelined and told they're not their type or some other reason. So getting to know a woman and deciding if you're going to buy a woman a drink is something that starts way before you enter the club. It's a complete game. I was in my teens when I started going to nightclubs, mostly all-age events where the girls ranged from 14 to 18 years of age and the guys from their teens to their 20s. So you could be a guy in your late 20s and get to be with a girl aged 14 or 15. This was before the age of consent was 16. I never realized this at that time, that I could have also slept with a naive and generally nice girl who wasn't aware of how the clubbing world works. But as years passed, I grew out of the clubbing culture and focused on being in relationships rather than being one of those guys. I just didn't find the idea appealing that you're expected to doing everything you possibly can for girls and buy them drinks in clubs. Otherwise, other older who were also financially more stable could instead take that place and you'd be left alone. It just wasn't a favorable situation. And you know what? Once women realize they have power over men in this clubbing culture, they tend to maximize the exploitation. You're the person she'll lean on the whole night to have a really good time, and she might even puke in your car on the way back, which is something women think is totally okay for some reason. Even with cab drivers who mostly try to avoid drunk women for the same reason. However, these nights are when cab drivers make the most money. Bouncers are a separate story. Women usually become friends with them, charm them, seduce them, and have them let them inside clubs. They stay informed of where they work. They even date bouncers just so they have some social clout and someone to look after them while they're drinking the drinks men buy them. Women do everything they possibly can to stay in the clubbing game because they get to exploit men, from the bouncers to the guys who buy them drinks inside. I mean, it's just such a shame. It's also a reason why guys should keep a distance from nightclubs. Most guys who do prefer to go to nightclubs usually have 1 or 2 drinks at most so they can easily buy them for women as well. Or guys get together for pre-drinks before they head to the club. When I used to visit clubs, I remember always feeling obligated to buy drinks and then buy them for women. There's also a real disparity between different areas when it comes to clubbing. For example, hitting the clubs in Florida was a completely different and actually fun experience compared to places like Canada where alcohol is much more expensive than it is in the States. Also, the women always seem too uptight in Canada, but in Florida, they really used to be out to have genuine fun. Clubbing can be fun if you're in your teens or early 20s. Also depends on where you're clubbing. Just don't try to find a girlfriend there because women mostly go to clubs to basically use men to have a good night. Be very careful. Smash the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.